My sister's son threw my engagement cake on the floor and said, "Eat it off the ground." The whole table laughed. I didn't say a word. That evening, Mom texted, "We've chosen to sever all contact. Stay away forever." My sister liked it. I replied, removing my name from every loan tomorrow. By midnight, the group chat flooded. 76 missed calls. My name is Avery Locke, I'm 28. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. What's the exact moment humiliation hardens into clarity? The second when you stop begging to be loved and start treating yourself like someone worth protecting. At the restaurant, I'd watched the frosting bloom across the terrazzo like a white storm. The fork I was holding reflected my face in a thin strip of silver, small, quiet, steady. I placed it down neatly, stood up, and kissed my fiancé, Nate, on the cheek. "We're leaving," I said, as my nephew howled and my sister smirked into her champagne. Back home, I set my phone on the counter, washed buttercream off my heel with dish soap that smelled like lemons, and opened a red accordion folder. Inside, every document they'd begged me to just sign for a little while. The auto loan I co-signed for my sister's husband. The boutique line of credit Mom opened with me as the guarantor. Utilities at their rental in my name, just until spring. 3 authorized user cards riding on my FICO, swiping their dinners through my future. They told me to stay away forever. So I would. Starting with my signature. I drafted emails, revocation of authorized users, removal of autopays I'd set up, termination notices for utilities, demand letters to lenders where I was guarantor, advising that my continued guarantee was contingent on immediate refinancing without me. I scheduled calls for morning with the bank manager and my attorney. I set an alert to freeze my credit at 9:01 a.m. At 12:07 a.m., the first "call me now" hit. By 12:40, the group chat was a siren, crying emojis, threats, bargaining. It was just a joke. I turned the phone face down. The kitchen window showed my reflection in black glass, bigger now, somehow, shoulders squared. Tomorrow, I thought, the money will tell the truth, they won't. At 8:45 a.m., I was already at the bank, the folder tucked beneath my arm like armor. The manager, Mrs. Donnelly, glanced at the stack, eyebrows rising. "Busy morning?" "Family business," I said, sliding over the revocation forms. "Remove these 3 authorized users and flag any linked accounts for suspicious activity. Effective immediately." She scanned the list. "These are relatives?" "Were," I corrected softly. While she typed, my phone buzzed nonstop. 27 missed calls from Mom, 5 from my sister, 1 from an unknown number I knew belonged to her husband. I didn't answer. The manager printed confirmations and slid them across the desk. "All processed. You'll receive verification emails within the hour." Perfect. As I walked out, the air felt sharper, cleaner. Across the street, the bakery where my engagement cake had been made had just opened. Through the window, I saw the same baker boxing up pastel cupcakes for another customer, her smile easy and warm. It was strange. I didn't feel bitterness. Just distance. By noon, the first email came. Authorized user removal complete. 10 minutes later, another. Then the messages turned desperate. "Mom. Avery, what have you done? Your sister can't pay her car note now." "Sister. You're ruining our lives over a joke?" "Me, no. I'm just giving you the independence you wanted so badly." At 2 p.m., a call from the boutique's lender came through. "Ms. Locke, we received notice of your removal as guarantor. The account holder has defaulted. Would you like to settle your portion?" "I no longer have one," I said calmly. "Please direct all communication to Elaine Locke." The silence on the other end was brief, but heavy. That night, I opened a bottle of white wine and watched the missed calls climb past 70. Each ring was a reminder. This was a revenge. It was recovery. And recovery, I realized, always sounds like silence. By the next morning, the silence broke loudly. Mom showed up at my door at 7:12 a.m., hair unbrushed, wearing her floral robe like battle armor. Behind her, my sister clutched her phone, whispering furiously into it. Avery, open the door right now. Mom's voice hit the wood like a hammer. You've humiliated this family. The bank froze our accounts. I cracked the door open an inch.
No, Mom.
You did that when you used my credit as your safety net. She shoved the door wider. We were family. You don't turn your back on blood. I stepped aside, calm, deliberate. Family doesn't cash in one daughter to fund another's life. My sister rolled her eyes. Oh my God, Avery. You're acting like a victim again. It was just one car payment. 3, I corrected. And a boutique loan and your husband's business account. Remember when you said I didn't fit your status? Well, this is what independence looks like. Mom's tone softened into manipulation, her favorite weapon. Honey, we made mistakes, but you're punishing everyone for. I'm protecting myself, I interrupted. There's a difference. My sister's voice cracked. They're repossessing the car, Avery. What do you want me to do? Walk, I said simply. For the first time, Mom was speechless. Her eyes darted around my living room, the plants I'd kept alive, the framed photo of Nate and me, the quiet proof of a life built without them. When she finally spoke, her voice trembled. You'll regret this when you're alone. I met her gaze evenly. I've been alone my whole life, Mom. I just stopped pretending otherwise. She left in stunned silence, slamming the door so hard the picture frames rattled. I exhaled, the kind that empties years of stored noise. The phone buzzed again. It was Dad. Don't push your mother like this, the text read. She's fragile. I typed back one line.
So was I.
You just never noticed. Tomorrow, they'd realize this wasn't defiance, it was emancipation. The following afternoon, I met with my lawyer, Denise Hargrove, a woman whose calmness could silence a thunderstorm. Her office smelled like cedar and ink, and her questions cut sharper than any blade my family had swung at me. You've removed your financial ties, she confirmed, reviewing the folder I'd handed over. Now, we'll file a credit protection notice and issue letters to each creditor. You'll also want to document any harassment. I nodded. Already started. Calls, messages, even their visit this morning, all recorded. Denise's lips curved slightly.
Good.
You're building a clean paper trail. Emotional control is your advantage here. That line hit me like truth on ice. Emotional control, the thing my family had always mocked me for. Too serious. Too cold. Too calculated. Turns out it was my survival skill. After signing the paperwork, I stopped by the cafe across the street. The barista, a college kid with tired eyes, smiled. You're Avery Locke, right? I saw the feature on your startup last year. You helped fund internships for women in tech. I blinked. Yeah, that's me.
Cool.
My sister got one of those. Changed her life. He grinned, sliding me a free muffin. You're doing good things. Walking out with the coffee in hand, something inside me shifted. My family's narrative of me, the ungrateful, difficult daughter, didn't fit anymore. Outside their world, I wasn't a disappointment. I was proof of my own resilience. That night, Nate found me sitting on the couch, laptop open, reviewing the documentation Denise had prepared. You're really doing this, huh? He said quietly. I already did, I replied. He kissed the top of my head. Then it's their turn to learn what accountability feels like. And deep down, I knew accountability would terrify them far more than silence ever had. 2 days later, the repercussions hit like dominoes. My sister called Nate first. She must have forgotten he blocked her months ago. Then Dad left a voicemail so angry it clipped the audio. You ungrateful child. You've ruined your mother's peace. Your sister's credit is wrecked, and the bank froze our joint savings. Fix this before we go public.
Public.
That word made me smile grimly. They had always been a family of appearances, designer dinners, Instagram perfection, status over substance. But now the mask was slipping, and for the first time I didn't flinch. At the office, my coworker Janelle noticed my mood. You look free, she said, pouring coffee. I guess cutting toxic ties is cheaper than therapy, I half-joked. By evening, Mom showed up again, Not furious this time, but tearful, carrying a Tupperware of casserole like guilt wrapped in foil. Avery, we just want to talk, she pleaded. You don't understand how hard things are for your sister. I understand perfectly, I replied, opening the door wider so she could see the stack of legal folders on my table. I'm done being the insurance policy for everyone else's choices. Her eyes searched mine for weakness. I raised you to be kind. No, I said quietly. You raised me to be useful. She flinched like I'd slapped her. For a moment, I almost apologized. Old habits die hard, but then I remembered every ignored birthday, every condescending remark, every loan they'd hidden behind family trust. As she left, the casserole still in hand, the smell of baked cheese followed her out, comfort from a house that had never offered any. That night I emailed Denise again. Proceed with finalizing the financial separation.
Full closure this week.
Because some families say forever and mean ownership. I say forever and mean freedom. By Thursday, my sister's world had begun unraveling. Her husband's car was repossessed before noon. Their boutique's Instagram quietly vanished by evening. Then, like clockwork, the family group chat resurrected itself from the dead. Mom added me back in with a message. Avery, we need to fix this together. You can't abandon your family over money. I read it 3 times, then set the phone down. Nate was across the room packing boxes for his move into my place. Boxes filled with laughter, calm, and everything my old house had lacked. They're trying to pull you back in, huh? He asked. Always, I murmured. They only remember love when the bills arrive. He nodded slowly. You know, maybe you don't need to answer. Sometimes silence is the most eloquent sentence.
He was right. I didn't reply.
Instead, I opened my laptop and finalized something that had been quietly building for months. A personal grant program in my company's name for women starting over after financial exploitation. The seed fund, $120,000. My money, my choice, my way of rewriting the story. That night, I received a text from an unknown number. It was my sister. They're blaming me now. Dad says it's all my fault.
Please talk to Mom.
She's losing it. I stared at the screen until it dimmed. Then I typed one line. I spent years losing myself for all of you. I'm done being lost. The phone stayed silent after that. The air in the apartment was soft and steady, the kind of silence that feels earned. For the first time, I realized peace doesn't always come after forgiveness. Sometimes it begins with absence. Friday morning brought a storm. Online, not outside. My sister's husband had gone on Facebook Live, raging about a greedy sister ruining her family. I only knew because my coworker sent the link with a warning. Don't look. It's bad. Of course, I looked. He stood in their half-empty living room, shouting into his phone while Mom's voice echoed off-screen, feeding him lines. She used us. We gave her everything, he cried. The irony was almost poetic. The comments, however, weren't what they expected. Wait, isn't she the one who paid your loans? Sounds like you were mooching, bro. Avery Locke, the entrepreneur? I'd pick her side. Within hours, their tantrum became their undoing. My company's followers flooded their feed with receipts, literal screenshots of my foundation's community grants, scholarships, and donations. Every lie they told only made the truth louder. That afternoon, Denise called. They've officially violated defamation clauses by going public, she said coolly. You can file, but you don't have to. They're self-destructing just fine. I smiled faintly. No lawsuits. Let the truth breathe. Nate found me later on the balcony, sipping tea while the city lights flickered below. You look peaceful, he said. I am, I whispered. For years, I wanted them to see my worth. But now, I don't need them to look. I can see it myself. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. You think they'll ever apologize? I shook my head. People who confuse love with control never do. But that's okay. I stopped living on their terms. Down below, a gentle wind rustled through the street trees, that quiet, satisfied kind of wind that sounds like something finally exhaling. Tomorrow, I'd finish this chapter. Not with vengeance, but with vision. Saturday arrived like calm after a decade-long storm. The morning light slipped through my curtains, soft and golden, touching the room I had built piece by piece. No borrowed money, no hidden debts, no conditional love. Just mine. I brewed coffee, checked my inbox, and paused at a subject line. Community Award nomination. Avery Locke. The local council wanted to honor my new grant program for empowering women through financial independence. I laughed quietly. The same city where my family once whispered about my failures now applauded my freedom. Later that afternoon, I drove to the community center I'd funded, small, sunlit rooms where women could learn coding, budgeting, and self-reliance. One of the participants, a single mom named Kayla, approached me shyly. "You don't know me, but because of your grant, I got my first certification. My son's proud of me," she said, eyes glimmering. For a second, I saw a reflection of myself, the girl who used to wait for her parents' praise, clutching report cards and silence. I smiled and hugged her. That's the only approval that matters, your own. When I got home that evening, a single envelope lay on the doormat. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. Inside, a short note. "Avery, we didn't know what we had until it was gone. Please talk to us. Love, Mom and Dad." I folded the note carefully, placed it back in the envelope, and set it in the fireplace. As the flames curled around the paper, I felt no hate, no triumph, just release. Nate entered quietly, slipping his hand into mine. "You okay?" I nodded. "Better than I've ever been." He smiled. "So what now?" "Now," I said, watching the last ember fade, "I build a family that doesn't need saving from itself." Outside, the city glowed like a heartbeat. Inside, the silence wasn't empty anymore. It was earned.